Now, our program is a housing first program. Well, of course, the biggest challenge is homelessness. We know that once they get permanent housing, that it makes it much easier for every other part of their life, because if you're homeless, it affects your health, it affects the safety of your children, it affects you being able to do permanent employment. So once we get that housing piece done, then the families have a safe place to land. They have something to call their own.
I was a part of the Solid Ground program because I was homeless for 2 years, and even working 16 hours a day, there was never enough. Solid Ground did everything they could to help me. At the time that they helped me get into a place, I had actually been sleeping in my car for almost 6 months. I was an Uber driver, an Uber and a Lyft driver, and the pandemic for me was terrifying. I lost my car because of the pandemic, which for me as a driver, that meant that I lost my employment.
When folks lost their incomes, they were not able to contribute any resources toward rent, and our program stepped in and paid the remaining balance, which dramatically increased our rental assistance costs. We made a pretty challenging decision early on in the summer to stop taking on new referrals to our program because we just didn't have the funds to support helping other people move into housing.
It was all a pretty collaborative effort, but we alerted the agency folks, look, we think there needs to be a legislative fix here. We think it's the only way that we're going to be able to ensure stability for the families in our program, centered around finding the best possible opportunity for some of the families that are participating in JourneyHome to tell their story.
When I met LaTanya, she was a little tired, I could tell, a little bit stressed, but she still had that sparkle on her eyes. She still had that tenacity, and I knew that she really wanted the program to work.
Akibalan is amazing, and she has been there every step of the way. Like, there's not been a moment that I didn't feel supported by Akibalan.
I knew that a lot of people could resonate with her story. She was working, she had a very good job, but still she got laid off and she found herself in this situation.
I gave my testimony and just told them the truth. Like, this program needs the funding because people need help. If they could have seen me like from here down, they'd have seen my hands shaking. I'd do it again in a heartbeat because it is so necessary for people like me who do work, who are educated, who just find themselves in a situation because of a series of unfortunate events.
Since then, we've worked really hard to get back on our feet, but COVID-19 was a setback that we really couldn't afford. And without the support of Solid Ground, we are facing homelessness. And I don't fear many things, but I do fear being homeless again.
So going before that council was terrifying because to stand up and say I was homeless for 2 years with my children, that sounds like the beginning of a bad mom story.
Your work and those who joined you in testifying on behalf of additional rental assistance was very meaningful, and it worked. It did some good. So good job.
If we can center the people most impacted by policy decisions, we can make the right ones.
Knowing that we can continue to support our folks who are struggling through this pandemic, and now they don't have to worry about losing a roof over their head and don't have to worry about losing this support and the safety net is huge.
When she told me that they increased the funding and it went through, I was like, yes, because it can help more people. A hand up is not a hand out. And this program is a hand up. It is a chance.
When they graduate, it's gonna be kind of corny, but they're really on a little bit more of their own solid ground. And that's just priceless.